Hello my dear children, how are you? Once again welcome to our physics class. Hope you all are fine over there. Children, in the previous session we had completed our resistive AC circuit and we found an expression for average power dissipated in a resistive AC circuit. Today we are going to discuss about a new term which is essential to understand all types of AC circuits. That is root mean square value of voltage and root mean square value of current. Why do we need to introduce these new terms while studying about any AC circuits? What is the relevance of these two terms in AC circuits? Also, we can discuss how can we represent the VI relationship in terms of another way, that is called phasor diagram. So let's get started with today's session, my dear children. Let's continue with the lesson, chapter 7, alternating current. So in the previous session we had discussed the average power dissipated in a purely resistive AC circuit. And today we are going to discuss the concept of RMS value of current and RMS value of voltage in a AC circuit, that is for resistive AC circuit. Okay. So before moving on to our topic, let's just recall the power dissipated in a purely resistive AC circuit. Do you remember the expression? The power dissipated in an AC circuit was Im square by 2 into R. Okay. And you all know the power dissipated in a DC circuit. It is just I square R. You had already studied this expression in your class 10 physics. When you look at both the expressions of power dissipation, there is a slight difference. In AC circuit, it is Im square by 2, and in DC circuit, it is just I square. So it is just inconvenient to us, and it will be very much convenient if we could remember both the power dissipations in a similar format. Send expression of power in AC, same as in DC. A new term was introduced which is known as root mean square current. Root mean square is also denoted by RMS. Okay, so the expansion of RMS is root mean square. Root mean square current is one of the ways to calculate the average value of alternating current. In order to make the expression of power in AC consistent with the expression of power in DC, the peak value of current was replaced by the RMS value. So that equation, that means our previous equation, can be written as P equal to I square RMS into R. So in the previous case we got power dissipated in an AC circuit as Im square by 2 into R, isn't it? So this Im square by 2, that means this peak value of current is now replaced by IRMS. So now we got the expression as I square RMS divided by, sorry, not divided by, it is just I square RMS into R. Okay. So now the power dissipated in an AC circuit is I square RMS. So I square RMS took the place of Im square by 2. Okay. So we can write Im square by 2 is equal to I square RMS. So what is IRMS? Then we can write IRMS is equal to square root of this expression, that is Im by root 2. So from this expression it is very clear IRMS will be always less than the peak value of current Im, because IRMS is obtained by dividing Im by root 2. So the value of IRMS, the magnitude of IRMS will be always less than Im. Now you know the expression for power in a DC circuit, it is I square R. Now just look at both the expressions of power dissipation. In AC circuit, the power dissipated is I square RMS into R. In DC circuit, the power dissipated is I square R. So both look similar and it is very convenient to remember both the expressions. And both the expressions look consistent too. So that is the advantage of root mean square current. Okay. That's why we introduced this concept or this term. Root means square current. Okay. Now next, let's discuss about RMS voltage. So what is RMS voltage? RMS means root of mean of square of instantaneous voltage. For example, consider we have 4 values of instantaneous voltages V1, V2, V3, V4. How will you find out RMS voltage of these 4 instantaneous voltages? So for that, first take the squares of this voltages, then find out the mean of this voltage. After calculating the mean, find out the square root. So that forms the RMS voltage, Vrms. So Vrms is equal to square root of mean of squares. So V1 square plus V2 square plus V3 square plus V4 square by 4 is the mean of these 4 values and mean of squares of voltages. Okay, so mean of squares of voltages and then take the square root of this mean. That is our Vrms, and we can find out the RMS voltage in this way only if the voltage values are discrete. If the voltage values are not discrete or are indistinguishable from each other, we must use another way which will be discussed in the next slide. Okay, so what is RMS voltage? RMS voltage is taking the root of mean of square of instantaneous voltage. This RMS voltage is also known as effective voltage, which is defined as the overall effective value of alternating current or alternating voltage. Now, this RMS voltage supplies the same power to the load as an equivalent DC circuit. So whatever power is dissipated or is supplied to the load in a DC circuit, the same power is provided or supplied to the load by the RMS voltage also. So that's why the expression looks like this: P equal to I square RMS into R. So this means that the power which is supplied to the load will be equivalent to the DC circuit. And this graph helps us to make the comparison between the peak voltage V peak or Vm and the RMS voltage. And I had told you the magnitude of or the amplitude of RMS voltage is always less than the peak voltage, or the amplitude of RMS current is always less than the peak current. Here also from the graph it is very clear. This is the amplitude of peak voltage and this is the amplitude of RMS voltage. So the amplitude of RMS voltage is less than that of the peak voltage, and also the amplitude of RMS voltage is equivalent to the DC voltage. Okay, so this expresses or this represents the DC current and or DC voltage. So the RMS voltage is equivalent to the DC voltage. Now, determining the RMS voltages. How can we find out RMS voltage? So the first case is already discussed. When the values are distinguishable from each other, RMS voltage is found by taking the square root of mean of the squares. And case 2, when the voltage is not distinguishable from each other, in such case we need to use another expression, that is RMS voltage is found out using this expression: Vrms is equal to square root of 1 by t into integral 0 to t v square dt. Okay, and here instead of v, substitute the instantaneous value of voltage. What is the instantaneous value? Vm square sine square omega t. And when we substitute it, here Vm square is constant. We can take it outside the integral. So what is left in the integral? It is left Vm square, square root of Vm square by t into integral of 0 to t sine square omega t dt. Okay, and we need to modify this sine square omega t as 1 minus cos 2 omega t by 2. Then when you need to do the necessary substitutions and all those things, the same procedure that we did to find out the average power. And finally, after simplifying this above expression, you will get Vrms is equal to Vm by root 2. Okay, so IRMS was IM by root 2 and VRMS is VM divided by root 2. So you must always remember this expression, relationship between the peak value of voltage and the RMS voltage, or the peak value of current and RMS current. Okay. Now what is RMS current? RMS current can also be found out using the same procedure. If the current is instantaneous, or if the current values are discrete, then you should use this expression, square root of mean of squares of current. And for continuous values, the IRMS will be IM by square or root of 2. Okay, so for continuous values, IRMS will be IM by root 2 as well as VRMS will be VM by root 2. For discrete values, IRMS will be square root of I1 square plus I2 square plus etc. plus IN square by N, and the VRMS will be square root of V1 square plus V2 square plus etc. plus VN square by N. Then we can discuss the most important concept of this chapter, and it is applicable for all AC circuits, that is phasor diagram. So we had already studied one way to represent the relationship between voltage and current. What was that way? It was graphical representation, VI graph of different circuits. And another convenient way to express the relationship between V and I in an AC circuit is phasor diagram. So phasor diagram is used to represent the voltage current relationships in AC circuit. Depending upon the nature of circuit elements, the VI relationship in an AC circuit will change, because now we had studied about the resistive AC circuit, and next we are going to study about inductive AC circuit and capacitive AC circuit. Okay, so in all those circuits, the circuit elements will be different. And depending upon the nature of the circuit elements, the VI relationship in AC circuit will change. And do you remember the VI relationship in a purely resistive AC circuit? Do you remember that graph? Yes, from the graph it was clear both current and voltage are in phase. That means both reaches 0, then reaches maximum, then minimum, then maximum simultaneously. They are in phase with each other. Okay, so here, what is phasor? A phasor is a vector capable of rotating about the origin with angular velocity, omega. Now you won't understand any of this definition, and we will discuss phasor through diagrammatic representations. So this definition will be much more clear to you. Okay, now you understand this concept, that is, it is a vector. Phasor is a vector and it is capable of rotating about the origin, and the angular speed or angular velocity of that rotation is omega. Now, and the vertical component of phasor will represent a sinusoidally varying quantity. Okay, that means the instantaneous value. The vertical component of phasor will represent the instantaneous value, and the length of the phasor will give you the magnitude or the peak value of that quantity. Okay, so here it is written like this: the magnitude or the length of the vector or the phasor is the peak value of the quantity at that instant of time. Okay, so we will discuss more about phasor, then all these concepts will be much more clear to you. See, this represents the phasor. See here, this is the VI graph for a purely resistive AC circuit, and according to this VI graph, this green graph represents the graph of current and the red graph represents the graph of voltage. So here we are considering a value, and here the period, let it be omega t1. See, consider this as omega t1, and the value on the current graph or I graph corresponding to this omega t1 is this point, and the point on the voltage graph corresponding to omega t1 is this point. And if you want to draw the phasor diagram of a purely resistive AC circuit, first, yes, draw a y-axis, then draw an x-axis as shown in the figure. Then just mark the points which are in same level with this point on the graph. So this is the point on the current graph, and just mark the points corresponding to this point in this plane, in the phasor plane. So this is the point corresponding to this point of current. Now again, for omega T1, this is the value, corresponding voltage value, and which point, this point corresponds to this point in the phasor plane. So if we draw a vector from origin to this point, this vector represents the vector of voltage, because this vector extends up to the point corresponding to the voltage point. Okay, and if we draw this vector from origin only up to this point, it forms the phasor diagram for the current. Okay, because this vector extends only up to the point corresponding to the current value in the VI graph. So this is phasor or vector. So this is a phasor and this is a phasor. Okay, so on the graph it is very clear. The green line represents the phasor for current, and the red line represents, or the red vector represents, the phasor for voltage. Okay, and here it is very clear, both the vectors are in phase, both the vectors coincide. If they coincide, that means they are in phase, and they makes an angle of, actually it is not omega t, omega T1 with the x-axis. So this is the phasor, and I told you the vertical component of this phasor gives you the instantaneous value of current. So here if we consider this phasor, which is the vertical component of this phasor, this is the vertical component, and that gives us the instantaneous value of voltage. What is the instantaneous value of voltage? Vm sin omega t. And if we consider the vertical component of this vector, that means current phasor, this component or this will give you the instantaneous value of current. What is the instantaneous value of current? Im sin omega t. Okay, and at the same time the length of the vector gives you the peak value. So for the current phasor, this is the length of the current phasor, and this length is equal to the peak value of current. And similarly for voltage phasor, this is the length of the voltage phasor, and this length will be equal to the peak value of the voltage. Okay, so this is the phasor diagram, and by looking at a glance on the phasor diagram, we can easily understand the phase relationship between voltage and current. Okay, similarly we can draw phase diagram for another values of omega t. If we consider another values of omega t, such as omega t2, okay, consider another value. Suppose consider a value omega t2 here, and just extend it. So the point corresponding to omega t2 on the current graph is this point, let it be A, and the point corresponding to omega t2 on the voltage graph is this point, let it be. And how will you draw the phasor here? In order to draw the phasor, you must draw a line to the phasor plane corresponding to this point, and from the origin draw a line or a vector, and this forms the phasor of the current. And similarly from this point B, draw a line to the phasor plane, and from the origin draw another vector along the same phase, because for the same phase omega t2 voltage and current takes this values. So this angle will be omega t2, like this. Now, advantages of phasor diagram. It is not possible to represent the complicated relationships between voltage and current with the help of graphs. In that case, phasor diagrams are used, and you will understand more about it when you study the LCR circuit. It is a very complex circuit. Okay. So what is phasor? So phasor is a vector. So this is a vector, and this vector is capable of rotating through an angle of 360 degree. Okay, and the length of the vector gives the peak value of that quantity, and the vertical component of this vector gives the instantaneous value of that quantity. Then here we have phasor diagram. See, the same thing is represented here. See, for 30 degree, if we want to plot a point corresponding to this 30 degree, just draw a line from the origin up to the 30 degree level. So this will be the phasor corresponding to 30 degree. Now, for 60 degree, just draw a phasor from the origin corresponding to 60 degree. It will extend up to the 60 degree level. And for 90 degree, draw a phasor from the origin which extends up to 90 degree level. And for suppose for 210 degree, for 210 degree, this will be the phasor. See, so as we move towards the right of the VI graph, we move towards the left of the circle in phasor diagram or in a phasor plane. And here when one cycle is over, see, this is one cycle, and in one cycle the phasor diagram rotates through an angle of 360 degree. So one 360 degree rotation is completed in one cycle of AC. Okay, so that's all for today's session. With this, I am concluding my session. YouTube video and notes of the topic have been uploaded. Please go through it. Also, study the notes very well and attend the test seriously. We will meet in the next session. Till then, take care all of you. Stay home, stay safe, keep learning. Thank you.